Hey, what's up, folks? A bunch of my subscribers have been asking for a follow-up on the Lose versus Concept Z reels. And a little over a year and a few months ago, I bought two new reels to try out. I bought a Lose Custom Inshore and a 13 Fishing Concept Z. I did a video, an initial impression video, because you can't do a review on a reel that you just pulled out of the box and fished a couple of times. So I'm going to put a link in the description if some of you new guys haven't seen it, for the initial review or initial impression video, and if you want to watch that before you watch this one, might be a good idea. Anyway, let's get something else out of the way before we get into this. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I have zero sponsors, so I'm not biased in any way towards any reel company or anything else. And after fishing both reels for a year and 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it's been, I did the initial impression a year ago December. So you can take it from there. The Lose Custom Inshore was one of the reels that I bought at that time. This reel has caught a lot of fish. It's all been saltwater. It's caught some big fish. Caught a couple of bull reds and a lot of trout and a lot of other stuff. After a year and so many months, this reel acts exactly like I took it out of the box. Absolutely no issues. Still smooth as silk. Still tight. There's no looseness. You know, nothing has acted like it's worn a lot or anything on it. There's two things that and I mentioned one of them in the initial impression video, and that's the fact that this door, when you pop it off, comes completely off. There's nothing holding it. There's not like a pin or anything that keeps it from coming completely off the reel. And you got to be careful, especially if you're out in a boat and your hands are wet or whatever. This thing's it's really thin, it's small, and if you're popping it off to get into the centrifugal brakes, it would be real easy to drop it. I hope that Lose changes that in the future, where it's connected to the reel even when you pop it off and you just spin it out of the way. One of the new features that I do really like on these Lose is right here. Probably can't see it, but there's a little trap door right here, and there's a screw holding it. But you can pop that screw and pop this little door out, and you're looking straight at the teeth of the bull gear, which is nice because bull gears need a lot of lubrication. They get dry, especially for somebody like me that's a lure fisherman that's casting, reeling. You can pop this off and lube that bull gear without having to tear the reel down. And I really like that. So anyway, a year and 6 months, June, these reels have performed flawlessly, and they feel just like the day I took them out of the box. Absolutely no issues at all. And if you notice in the last video where I hung that humongous ray, I was using the loose, and there's a reason for that, because in all the shore videos I did before that, I was using the Z. So let's get on to the Z. The reason that the Z wasn't in the last video is because something came apart or broke. I'm not sure, I haven't opened it up yet, but it hangs. See that? It hangs right there. I don't know if it's if it lost a tooth on the bull gear, or if it's the worm gear. Something has failed, and I'm not sure what it is. But you can see it just, and it happened real quick. It was not like it was something that, but I'll say this. If you go back to the initial impression video, when I pulled this thing out of the box, and I commented on the fact that the tolerances felt real loose. I mean, there's movement in the handle. I mean, it just, and maybe because it doesn't have ball bearings, it's got those polymer bushings. I'm not sure, but you've seen me catch trout, you've seen me catch redfish, you've seen me catch flounder on this reel, but at a year and 6 months it failed. Now, I'm not saying that all of them are like that. This is the only one I've used, the only one I've ever owned, and I might have just got a bad one, I don't know. But at $200, there shouldn't, it shouldn't fail at a year and a few months. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, when I took this thing out of the box, it felt loose. And as I fished with it for a year and so many months, it seemed like every time it got a little bit looser and a little bit looser. I don't know if that's the wear on those polymer bearings or polymer bushings or what, but the last video that you saw this thing in was when I was flounder fishing, and I noticed it was starting to feel clicky inside, and towards the end of that, which I didn't show, it's when it failed, it's when it broke, something come loose. I haven't tore it down to see what it is. I don't even know if I will. But like I said, it's something is screwed up in there, and I don't know what it is. Anyway, there's a bunch of y'all been wanting to know how the two reels fared, and that's what I got right now. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by anybody, and I'm not saying that all Z's are like this one, because I've only owned one. But I can say that the one I own failed, and for whatever reason, I'm not sure. I'm going to add this reel because I was using Daiwas before I bought these other two to try out. This Daiwa is 3 years old. This is the Daiwa CT, Tatula CT Type R, and CT meaning the compact version. This reel has caught a ton of fish, and it's another one that to this day feels just like the day it came out of the box. It's smooth, it's not noisy, it's not loose. They're good reels, and I had real good luck with a couple of other Tatulas that I had earlier. But I did wear those down to where the bull gear started getting some wear on them and making noise, and I ended up giving them to a friend of mine, and he's still using them. So that's another reel that I would recommend. One thing I like about the tattoo, about any of these Daiwa bait casters, is they're a straight magnetic control. There's no centrifugal brakes inside this thing anywhere. So once you set this to a certain point, nothing ever changes. You can't, there's no fluctuation in resistance or anything else. That's one thing about any of these reels that have, now the Lew's has both. It's got centrifugal brakes inside, and it's also got mag force on the outside. But the mag force is for tiny adjustments. The bulk of your adjustments is inside on the 4 brakes. But there is a drawback to them centrifugal brakes, and that's the fact that every couple of fishing trips you got to pop this door off and put a little bit of oil in there on that brake drum, or this thing you'll start losing distance and it'll start making noise. That's one drawback to having a reel with centrifugal brakes. But if you keep a little bit of oil on that drum, it doesn't make any noise, it's smooth, and it casts a long ways. So anyway, that's the lowdown. A bunch of y'all been asking. So that's where we're at the 1.5-year mark on these reels. Lew's going fine, no problem, no issues. And the Z, we did have a failure with the Z, but like I said, I don't know, I may have just got a bad one. I'm not saying that all Z's are bad. So anyway, thanks for watching, and catch you on the next video.